I never thought I'd be in a position where I'd have to defend my own home from my own family. But here I was, standing in the middle of my living room, staring at my father and older sister, who had just dropped a bombshell on me that I still couldn't quite process. Let me back up a bit. My name is Alex, and I'm 34 years old. Last year, after years of saving, budgeting, and sacrificing, I finally bought my first home. It wasn't a mansion or anything extravagant, just a modest two-story house in a quiet suburban neighborhood. But it was mine. Every brick, every nail, every piece of furniture I'd carefully picked out. It was all mine. I had worked tirelessly for this, and it felt like the culmination of everything I'd ever strived for. My older sister, Clara, on the other hand, had always been the golden child. She was 37, and our parents had always favored her. Clara had a knack for getting what she wanted, whether it was through charm, manipulation, or just plain old entitlement. She'd been handed everything in life: college tuition, a car, even a down payment for her first house. But Clara had a habit of burning through money like it was nothing. She'd sold the house our parents gave her within a year, blew through the cash on failed business ventures, and had been living off our parents ever since. I, on the other hand, had never asked for anything. I'd worked part-time jobs through college, paid off my student loans, and saved every penny I could to buy my home. I didn't resent Clara for the way our parents treated her. I'd long since accepted that life wasn't fair. But what I couldn't accept was what happened next. A few weeks ago, my dad called me out of the blue. "Hey, Alex, can I stop by? There's something I need to talk to you about." I didn't think much of it at the time. Dad and I didn't talk often, but when we did, it was usually about mundane things: work, the weather, maybe a bit of family gossip. But when he showed up at my door with Clara in tow, both of them wearing these smug, self-satisfied smiles, I knew something was up. We sat down in my living room, and after some awkward small talk, my dad dropped the bomb. "Alex, your sister's been going through a really tough time lately, and we've been thinking you should give her your house." I actually laughed, like, out loud. "Give her my house? Are you serious?" Clara just sat there, arms crossed, looking bored, like this was already a done deal. "Dad, she needs it more than you do," he continued, completely serious. "You don't have a family. You don't have kids. This house is too much for just one person. Clara is struggling right now, and it would be the right thing to do." Let me be clear, Clara wasn't struggling. She was irresponsible. Our parents had given her a house 5 years ago, a beautiful 3-bedroom place in a much nicer neighborhood than mine. But what did she do? She sold it within a year, blew through the money on pyramid schemes and impulsive spending, and had been living off our parents ever since. And now, they wanted me to clean up her mess again. "No," I said firmly. "Absolutely not." Dad's face turned red. Clara scoffed. "Ugh, I knew you'd be selfish about this." "Selfish?" I shot back. "I bought this house with my own money. I didn't get a free house handed to me and throw it away." "Watch your tone," Dad snapped. "She's your sister. You have a responsibility to help her." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was their responsibility to enable her. And now that they were running out of ways to bail her out, they expected me to sacrifice everything I'd worked for. Then Dad pulled out his trump card. "If you don't do this, don't expect to see a cent from me when I'm gone. I'll cut you out of my will." I stood up, walked to my office, and pulled out a neatly organized folder from my filing cabinet. When I came back, I dropped the paperwork on the table in front of them. "Go ahead, cut me out, because guess what? Clara's already taken her inheritance." Dad blinked. Clara went pale. "That house you gave her, the one she sold for cash, that was worth more than anything left in your estate. She's already gotten her share. I, on the other hand, have gotten nothing from you my entire life. So go ahead, write me out. But don't come knocking when you need help, because I won't be there." Dead silence. Clara's jaw clenched. Dad's face went from red to ghost white. How dare you throw that in our faces? Dad finally snapped. After everything we've done for you, I let out a bitter laugh. Everything you've done for me? That's rich. From where I'm standing. The only thing you've ever done is bend over backward for Clara, while expecting me to just deal with it. Clara finally shook off the shock and slammed her hands on the table. That house was a gift. You can't put a price on family support. Sure, I said, but apparently you can put a price on mine. And it's exactly one house. Dad pointed a finger at me, his voice low but furious. You ungrateful brat. You'd rather see your own sister homeless than help her out. Let's get one thing straight, I said. Clara isn't homeless. She's been living in your guest house for free since she blew through the money from selling her house. She has no rent, no bills, and no responsibilities. Meanwhile, I've worked my ass off for everything I have, and now you want to rip it away from me because Clara doesn't feel like being an adult. I shook my head. You know what? This conversation is over. I'm not giving her my house. And if you're going to cut me out of you over this, go ahead, because I don't need anything from you. I stood up, walked to the front door, and opened it. Get out of my house. Dad's eyes widened like he couldn't believe I was actually kicking them out. You can't be serious. Dead serious. This is my house, and I'm done with both of you. Clara got up in a huff, grabbing her designer handbag, probably bought with Dad's money, and stormed out first. Dad hesitated for a moment, as if expecting me to back down, but when he saw that I wasn't budging, he finally muttered something about me being a disappointment and followed Clara out the door. I shut the door behind them and locked it. I wish I could say that was the end of it, that they saw reason and left me alone. But no, the real war was just beginning. A few days passed, and I thought that was the end of it, that I had finally shut the door, literally and figuratively, on my father and Clara's entitlement. I was wrong. It started with a phone call from my realtor. Hey, Alex, I just got a weird inquiry about your house. Someone claiming to be your father asked if the property title was in your name or still under family ownership. I nearly dropped my phone. Family ownership? What the hell is he talking about? I reassured my realtor that the house was 100% mine and hung up, but something felt off. Why would my dad, who had no financial stake in my home, be sniffing around like this? Then that very night, I got a notification from my security cameras. Motion detected, front door. My stomach dropped. I pulled up the footage on my phone, and there they were, Clara and my dad, standing on my front porch with a locksmith. I immediately turned on the microphone function and spoke through the camera. Can I help you? The locksmith literally jumped when he heard my voice, looking around in confusion. My dad, however, didn't even flinch. We're just checking something, son. Don't make this difficult. Clara was smirking, arms crossed, like she had already won. Checking what, exactly? I asked. The locksmith hesitated. They said they were the owners, that they lost their keys and needed the locks changed. Oh, hell no. I quickly grabbed my car keys and sped home. I was furious. If I hadn't gotten that notification, I don't even know what I would have come back to. Would they have moved in, changed the locks, thrown my stuff onto the street? When I pulled up, the locksmith was still standing there awkwardly, clearly realizing he'd been lied to. I said, You don't live here, and you sure as hell don't own this house. The locksmith looked at me, then at my dad, then back at me. Sir, do you have proof of ownership? I pulled out my phone and opened my property deed. This is my name on the title. Not his. Not hers. Mine. The locksmith immediately stepped back and muttered an apology. Dad, however, wasn't backing down. You have no right to treat me like this. I raised you. I provided for you, and this is how you repay me. I chuckled. By stopping you from committing little fraud? Yeah, I guess so. Clara groaned, clearly losing patience. Dad, let's just call the cops. He can't just kick us out of our own house. I laughed, like full-on bent over, wheezing laughter. Your own house? You really believe that? She shrugged. Dad said it's still technically the family's. And there it was, their real plan. My father, this man who had spent my whole life favoring Clara, handing her everything while giving me nothing, actually thought he could just will my house into existence as family property. At this point, I was done being polite. All right, let's call the cops. Dad and Clara froze. I laughed. Oh, what's wrong? I thought you wanted to call them. You think they'll agree with you? That they'll just kick me out of my own home? Dad's eyes darted toward his car, clearly debating whether he should just leave. But Clara, she doubled down. You can't prove this house wasn't meant for me. Dad said he always planned for me to have it. Oh, that was cute. I pulled out my phone, tapped a few times, and pulled up the emails from my bank. Oh, really? Because according to my mortgage records, I took out a loan. According to my closing documents, I signed the deed. And according to this wire transfer, I made the down payment. Not you. Not Dad. Me. Clara's mouth snapped shut. I added, so please call the cops. I'd love for them to hear you try to explain how you're entitled to a house you have absolutely no legal connection to. Dad grabbed Clara's arm. Let's go. Clara hesitated, but Dad yelled, now. They stormed off, Clara seething, Dad muttering something under his breath. I stood there, arms crossed, watching them drive away. As their car disappeared down the street, I took a deep breath, trying to calm the rage boiling inside me. Then I turned to the locksmith. He was already loading his tools into his truck, clearly eager to get the hell out of there. Not so fast, I said. We need to talk. He flinched, but tried to play it cool. Look, man, I didn't know. That's your excuse? I asked, stepping closer. They told you it was a family home and that they'd lost their keys. It happens all the time, right? People get locked out. But you didn't think to check? No ID. No proof of ownership. Just some random guy saying, yeah, I totally own this place, and you're ready to start drilling. He had the nerve to look annoyed. Look, I don't need this. I didn't even start working yet. Oh, hell no, I said. You showed up at my house. You pulled out your tools. You were about 5 seconds away from breaking in. He held up his hands. I get it, okay? I should have asked for ID first. I took a step closer. Damn right you should have. If I hadn't caught you, you would have changed my locks for 2 people who were about to illegally move into my house. He sighed loudly, like he was the one being inconvenienced. Fine. I'll be more careful next time. Are we done? I narrowed my eyes. Not even close. Give me your business card. That got his attention. Why? Because I want the name of the company that almost helped my dad commit fraud. His jaw tightened. Come on, man. I didn't know. I was just doing my job. And your job requires verifying ownership before drilling into someone's door, right? Silence. I held out my hand. The card. Now. He let out a frustrated breath, yanked a card from his pocket, and slapped it into my palm. Thanks, I said. Oh, and by the way, if I ever catch you trying to break into my house again, I won't just be having a conversation. I'll be calling the cops. He muttered something under his breath, climbed into his truck, and peeled out of my driveway. I looked down at the card. Time to make some phone calls. I walked back inside, still gripping the locksmith's business card. My heart was pounding, not from fear, but from sheer rage. Dad and Clara had actually tried to break into my house. Not just manipulate, not just guilt trip, break in. I needed to make a few calls. First, I dialed the locksmith company. A woman answered, sounding cheerful. Thanks for calling, company name. How can I help you? Yeah, I need to file a complaint, I said. One of your guys just showed up at my house and was about 5 seconds from drilling my lock because 2 random people told him to. No verification, no proof of ownership, nothing. He was about to help them illegally break into my home. There was silence for a moment. Then in a much more serious tone, she said, "That definitely shouldn't have happened. Do you have the technician's name?" I read off the name on the card. "We take this very seriously. I'll escalate this to management immediately." "Good," I said, "because if I ever see one of your locksmiths doing something like this again, I won't be calling customer service. I'll be calling the police and my lawyer." She stammered out an apology, but I'd already hung up. Next, I needed to make a legal move. I called my lawyer. "Yeah, I have one. Because family drama like this teaches you to be prepared." After explaining what had just happened, he didn't sound the least bit surprised. "Your father and sister tried to commit fraud. You need to file a police report. Even if you don't want them arrested, having a record of this will protect you in case they try something again." He was right. They weren't going to stop unless I made them stop. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the police station. I walked into the station, still gripping the locksmith's business card like it was evidence in a murder case. My mind was racing. I didn't want to get law enforcement involved in family drama, but Dad and Clara had crossed the line. Approaching the front desk, I took a deep breath. I need to file a report. My father and sister just tried to break into my house. The officer at the desk raised an eyebrow. "Do you have proof?" I laid it all out. The locksmith's involvement, my dad and Clara's entitlement, how they had almost gotten inside. I even showed him the security footage from my phone, which clearly captured my dad standing by while the locksmith prepped his tools. The officer nodded. "Yeah, that's definitely an unlawful entry attempt. You're the legal owner of the house, right?" I pulled out my paperwork. "My name's the only one on the deed." He studied it for a moment, then looked back at me. "We can file this as an attempted unlawful entry. Since they didn't actually break in, it's not full-blown trespassing. But if they try this again, they're looking at serious charges." That was exactly what I needed, a paper trail. After signing the necessary forms, I walked out of the station feeling lighter. But I knew this wasn't over. Sure enough, my phone buzzed the second I got in my car. "Dad." I let it go to voicemail. Seconds later, Clara's name popped up on the screen. I ignored her too. A minute later, a text from her came through. "You called the police on Dad? What is wrong with you?" I stared at my screen, disbelief morphing into amusement. "Oh, this is going to be fun." I typed back. "He tried to break into my house. Actions have consequences." Her response came instantly. "Oh my God, you're so dramatic. You know Dad just wanted what was best for the family." I was done playing nice. Dad wanted what was best for you. He thought he could steal my house, and you let him. Guess what? Now there's a report filed. Try this again and I'll press charges." A few dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, she sent, "You'll regret this." I laughed. "Oh, Clara, you have no idea." I started my car and headed home. It was time to prepare for the next round, because this fight wasn't over.